Hello, welcome everybody. Let's wait for our audience to join and we will start very soon. All right, I still see people are still joining. Let's give them a minute or so and we will start. All right, we're gonna wait another minute and we will kick off our session very soon. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this month live Dr. Jaspersoft session about Jasper Report Server dashboard capabilities. Happy to have you here with us, and thank you for joining. I have here with me Mike Bilkovich, Senior Manager of Customer Success North America, ready to dive in with you and show us some of the magic tonight. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
Good, better. Thank you.
Great. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right, so this is our confidentiality disclaimer. If you go to the next session, well, stay tuned, guys. As always, our second Thursday of every month, May 9th. So our next session will be about AWS, our deploying Jasper server in AWS versus Azure. Please go ahead and register. We're gonna update our page right after the finish of today's session. And don't forget to vote for your next Dr. Jaspersoft session. This link here, and it will already be in the slides as well. Every time, anytime, you can go ahead and vote for your next session on Dr. Jaspersoft. One last thing, please put your questions on the Q&A section on the bottom of your Zoom. We will be monitoring it and we'll try to get to all of your questions before the end of the session. That was all for me. Thank you, Mike. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Better. Appreciate it. It's good to be back doing Dr. Jaspersoft again. And like Batter said, this time we're going to be talking about dashboards. Going to try to keep it relatively brief. We're going to cover some dashboard basics. We're going to talk about some of the latest and what I consider the greatest features in our dashboards and dashboard designers. I'm going to mention and just a high level an alternate sort of option about visualize.js dashboards. And of course, we'll be bouncing between demos throughout. So without further ado, we'll jump right in and just talk just a little briefly about some of the dashboard basics. I think most people, if you've been using Jaspersoft for a while, you probably have been exposed in some way, shape, or form to dashboards. But for those that haven't, with Jaspersoft, there's really two ways to build reports. You have the Ad-hoc designer and sort of the UI-based method to generate reports. And you can generate reports using Jaspersoft Studio, our standalone tool, which allows for much more complex report development. The dashboard designer does give you that capability to create ad hoc reports while you're creating a dashboard. I'm not usually a big proponent of that because your dashboards become, or your ad hoc reports become kind of specific to that dashboard. But it is a nice way to just drop in something real quick if you just want to put something together very quickly. So that is a capability that's available to you. One of the cool features of our dashboard designer that we keep improving and making better throughout the releases is the ability to export stuff from the dashboard. Used to be that it was always just like a screenshot of what you saw. Now you actually have the option to export screenshots or a detailed version of the reports. So that is an ability there. I'll show you that briefly when we flip over to the demo mode. One gotcha that you do have to make sure you have set with these later versions of Jaspersoft, you have to set Chrome or Chromium path in your js.config.properties file when you install your server, or it can be done after you install, but any change to that file does require a restart of the server. So it's generally a good idea to set that when you start. In the previous older versions of Jaspersoft, it was phantom.js is what we used to do that export capability. So if you're using an old version, that's the way you'll go. But in these later versions, like I said, you'll set the Chromium path. And just to show you what that kind of looks like in that JS config file, there's a real simple Chrome.path setting, and you just point it to, in my case, right to my Chrome is what I did on my own server when I run my server locally. So it'd be something like that. Dashboards also allow you to do complex filter mapping. Benefit to this is that we can actually choose filters. You can add filters to your dashboard, but you can actually choose which dashlets are affected by said filters. So there's a nice little mapping system in there. We'll take a brief look at that here momentarily. And then there are lots of other options available to you. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera just in case my video or
Yeah, there was some small break-in earlier. Looks
sorry
like
about that. Yep.
yeah.
All
I think
right.
it will be better with that camera.
Hopefully it's better now. Of course, now it's not loading the slides. There we go. So some of those additional options, auto refresh capabilities to refresh your dashboards automatically if you keep them up and you just want to always go back and see data update behind the scenes. There's expand and collapse capabilities. If you have a bunch of dashlets on a dashboard, you can actually expand and show one dashlet bigger temporarily and then make it go back down. There's various formatting options within each dashlet, including the dashboard as well. And then we do have hyperlinking available as well. I'll show you some examples of that when we get into some of the more advanced topics today. So, all right, I'm going to jump over to the server. Am I still coming through okay, Batter?
Yes.
All right,
That's
great.
fine.
So from our homepage here, when you log into Jaspersoft in the UI, you do see dashboards available right here. And anyone by default can create a dashboard. That is something you can restrict if you want to, but when you configure your server, but by default, everyone can create a dashboard. I'm going to just show you real quick. Before I jump into that, I'm going to show you the we do ship with, if you include the samples when you install Jaspersoft, we ship with a bunch of dashboards by default. And just real quick, high level, here's the Supermart dashboard, which is a very nice put together dashboard by our team that shows with some of our sample data for a supermarket, a made up supermarket, if you will. And you can see a lot of kind of cool features built right in here. This particular dashboard has links to other dashboards, if you will, so you can click on sort of like sub dashboards and go to an expense dashboard if you want to see the expenses. There's a lot of features included with our sample databases. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I just want to point it out. If you're unaware of that, that is available to view out there. So I'm going to just real briefly show you how to create a new dashboard. You just hit that create button there. It's also up in your create menu option here. You can choose dashboard here as well. And when you're here, it's a simple drag and drop interface. I'm not going to go too crazy here. I've got some sample ones already built that I want to walk through, but all I have to do is simply drag over reports, which are available here as existing content, into my dashboard designer pane, and it will actually render that report and show you the results of it right in the dashboard designer. And then when I drag over a second one, I have different options as to where to put it. It will auto resize the original stuff, the other data. So when I dropped it over here, it squeezed it in next to the geographic results by segment. That's the basic concept for creating a dashboard. It's very simple, very quick to do. If you wanted to set up filters, the filters get added here, and you can actually do that with this filter mapping here and create your parameter mapping if you want, but I'll show, again, a little bit more of that later. A lot of your dashboard settings, or most of your dashboard settings, are actually right here. You can choose some of the background colors, setting your size. You can show the export buttons. You can choose which buttons and things to actually show and enable on the dashboard. And then you also have settings for individual dashlets. So I clicked on the sales mix by city dashlet, highlighting this guy. And now my dashlet settings, a little widget pops up here. And it allows me to set items specific to that dashlet. And you'll see quite a few options available here. These are things that we're adding. With every version, we try to add more features and capabilities for you. But right now in version 9.0, this is what you have, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of these specifics here.
So, Mike, those content, existing content, that means our user needs to create them before as an ad hoc or a studio report or whatever that resource can be. But I believe we can also create them inside the dashboard while actually developing the dashboard in the new content,
Correct.
right? Section.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's this section here. If I really wanted to, I could create a chart, drop it in here, and basically you get this pop-up of our ad hoc designer. And so now I could go through and actually create a whole ad hoc view, but also have the capability to add other dashlet types, if you have a straight text field, a web page, which I'll show you an example of later, or a straight image. If you have a logo file or something you want to put in, you can do that and reference the URI to an image. It can be in our repository, or it could be on the internet. Sorry, I got another unstable message. Hopefully I'm okay.
You're okay, man.
I'm unstable in general. Everyone knows this, so that's okay. It's just my computer finally figured it out. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of our dashboards. Actually, let me just pop back over to the slides and go into our latest and greatest features, and then I'll jump into all the demos there. I just have three things that I wanted to call out here. Not all of these are brand new features, but they are features that I feel are some of the most important ones and things that we feel give you just a lot of capabilities that we didn't used to have. Filter mapping between Studio and ad hoc based reports. So previously you could only map your filters from an ad hoc report to another ad hoc report. So a dashlet that had an ad hoc report could only map filters when you put in filters to those ad hoc dashlets or studio to studio. Now you can actually map between both ad hoc and studio when you go into that parameter mapping there. So that was a feature. I'm not sure, was that 9.0 Batter? I believe that was added in 9.
Yes, that's a new feature that was a long waiting from our customer base, is to have the ability of filter mapping and interaction that you have inside the dashboard also for our studio users. So now you can, if you have a studio developed report, you can add it in your dashboard with a bunch of others or ad hocs, and you can interact between the two as you usually used to do with prior to version 9.
Right.
Without.
Another great feature, which is more of a feature that was added to the ad hoc designer, but it translates to dashboards very well, is a drill down capability. In the past, you would have to put a hyperlink in and make that hyperlink click to another report or dashlet and reload that data to get that drill down capability. But now you can actually do it directly in your ad hoc designer. When you build your ad hoc reports, if you put multiple data elements into your rows, you can check this enable drill down box and you get drill down capability right within the report or dashlet, as you will see momentarily. I'm going to show you an example of that. It does not apply to Studio-based reports, of course, because Studio is its own beast. You're building the full-on reports there. So you still would have to, if you're building a Studio report and you wanted to drill down, you would still build hyperlinks to do that. But in ad hoc, it's built in now, which is a really cool feature. And then the last thing I just wanted to call out, this has been there for a while, but it is a really great feature if you're embedding Jaspersoft into your application and using visualize.js. we have this ability to show you the code to embed the dashboard or the dashboard that you're creating directly into your visualize.js app. So we'll show you how that works right now. Okay. So first, actually, I think I'm going to show the drill down capability because I do think that's, well, I should probably click the one that says drill down. That is a really neat feature that we've added recently. And so I'm going to show that now. So this is a very simple dashboard, which is based on an ad hoc view. I only have one ad hoc view in this dashboard, but you can see here I do have my filters I added directly to the dashboard. Now you have an option to put filters as a pop-up. You can choose where to put the filters on within the dashboard. In this case, I just kept the filters up here, and I'm just looking at data, sales data per city for this faux supermarket that we have. And if I click on one of the cities, the bars here, because I have that enable drill down checked, when I click on Tacoma, it actually filters that data down and immediately shows me the quarterly information for Tacoma. And if I click on Q1, then it actually shows me the breakdown per month for the sales data for each month within Q1 in Tacoma. So and you have this little breadcrumb item that comes up automatically. I didn't have to code any of this. This is all built directly in to the ad hoc view, and I will show you that real quick. By jumping over to my ad hoc editor, this is that same report, and you can see here that it was designed by just putting in the store city first as a row, and then a quarter as a row, and then the date as a row. They call it date in our system, in our sample data set. And then my columns is just the store sales. And then the only thing to do to enable it is to just check this box right here, this toggle to enable the drill down. And once I do that, I can actually play with it here as well, same way that I did before. And I've lost my internet again. So I don't know why that one is not working. But it's the same thing you saw on the front end. So I can vouch for the fact that that actually works. Let me just pull it back up. So here's that data. I think it was just some stale information. And now it's drilling down as we saw before. So this is all built right in. Again, it's more of an ad hoc feature that was added, but because, like I said, that's in there, now you have that ability to add that to any of your dashboards as well. I have a combination thing I'm going to show you now that that utilizes that drill down feature as well as a little bit of hyperlink fun as well. So let's go back in. I've got this other test dashboard that I'm going to run that I wrote earlier. Just got 3 dashlets in here. I've got a pie chart with the vacation accrued by positions within the company. I've got a table list of the employee vacation and when they accrued it or how much they accrued. And then I've got a web page in here that talks a little bit about vacations. And if I expand this, as I showed before, or as I mentioned before, I now can see, you know, a web page about how to use vacation days wisely. I can now collapse that again, and it goes back down to where it was. And then I've got my pie chart here, which also has that drill down capability enabled. So if I look here, I'm looking at the store management pie, and I see the total vacation accrued for the storage management position. If I click on that, it's going to drill down. And now that was more of a department. Now I'm seeing positions within that department. And it updated, if you noticed, the list and filtered this list based on people who have that department. And if I go one step further and click on that pie, then it actually filters and shows me the employees who have accrued vacation as the store assistant manager employees in this case. Or I could click on store manager and it's updating that dashlet here. And it was very simple to do that mapping, and I'll just show you the mapping real quick. So if you look here at my mapping icon, I click on that mapping icon, and all I had to do is say, oh, well, on my source dashlet, which is vacation by position, which I enabled hyperlinking, I can have the position parameter, and I'm going to update the employee vacation accrued dashlet right here. And the parameter that I'm going to pass this position value to is called position is one of, because that's the name of the parameter that came from the ad hoc view. That's all I have to do to get that hyperlinking to work. And you'll see here, I did enable hyperlinking with the checkbox here and just did an update page to make sure I updated the page.
Yeah, so I can see there's other options on the hyperlink, which you can use both on Studio Report or Ad-hoc Report, guys. And you can do a bunch of things of it. You can either open a new page, maybe link to another URL on the public web or on your own on your own intranet. You can replace the page. You can replace the dashlet. So keep the dashboard as is and just replace the information on one dashlet without impacting the other dashlets. There's
Right.
the four options that we have on hyperlinks works for both Ad-hoc and Studio Reports.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Batter. It's really great when you want to like filter out. Like you saw, I had this web page here. One example we like to use is if you have specific data and you want to click a link to open, let's say, Wikipedia, and have it go to the page about that data to Wikipedia. You can do that by passing that to another page or an external or even a dashlet, if it was in here. So.
And there's also one thing that you might be interested in is if, let's say, if you wanted to show those parameters that you actually playing on, and then you can use the $P. If you can show that, Mike, as well. So you can in the text, for example, if you can drag a text.
Yeah, you want me to do that?
Yeah, but just to show, so that you do $P, and then you get here you get auto load here for all the available parameters to you, and you can show them here, saying to the user, okay, so I'm actually choosing this parameter. You can also do dates. You can also change the format of the dates. There's different available formats where you can use there. You can put it as the title of your dashlet, so which will also changes automatically.
Right, that's what I was talking. Yep, thinking too. I did put that position in, but it didn't show better. Did I have to do the
Well, maybe your position is not. If you go to your filter mapping, not sure if your position is actually have value. Maybe it's another.
There you go. Yep. So text. Well, that should be correct to the text field to position, right?
When you click, so if you click on the position, normally that would.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's not because it's not starting there. We're missing something there, but that's what you get. Whoops.
Yeah, that's not behavior. Normally, this is where you can once you do the $P there, it will show you everything, all the parameter, as long as it's mapped in your filter mapping.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's not showing up there. But either way, yeah, there's a lot of capabilities in here, a lot of ways. And again, I always stress that, I show everyone the sample stuff when I first start, but I did want to pull together a couple of quick examples here. The other thing that I wanted to show is the visualize embed code feature. So here we have this. I'm going to go and delete this just so it's not causing me any issues. If we click on this embed code option here, that's going to go ahead and show us the code that would be necessary to embed Jaspersoft, this dashboard, in your web page if you're using visualize.js. Shows you a little preview of what it looks like, but what's really nice is you have this ability. You can copy the code into your buffer, into your memory of your computer, but you can also click this open in JS Fiddle, which will open a new tab, and it will actually set up everything to kind of show you how that works, and you can see the fiddle working here. So you can also test to, I think by default, this is setting a default username, but you can actually go in, uncomment this section, and then actually test this out by putting in whichever user you want to use to test the connection to make sure it works.
Yeah, this is just show how easy we can embed our dashboards using VisualizeJS. As you can see, so there is just a few lines of code that will allow you to embed this in any HTML application that you guys have.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a way, and there is also another way that Mike will be talking about, which is more
Yeah.
flexible and gives you better handle.
Yeah, a little more control. Let's not, that's exactly good segue, Batter. I was going to go to that next.
Yeah, so just because I was looking into that $P parameter, so it did not show because we don't have the parameter. You need to drag the filter first in the dashboard, and once you drag your filter, and then it will take the value and it will show it in your dashlet. If you because you it was just you are just like doing the enabling the drill down, but the parameter was not actually in the
Okay.
dashboard.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we can show that. I'll show that after I talk about this if we have time. So the last topic that I really wanted to talk about before we open it up for questions is about this sort of visualize.js, and you notice I put dashboard in quotes. So um, while I'm very happy and I like our dashboard designer, a lot of times, you know, if you're building your own application and you're embedding Jaspersoft within it, you may not be happy with some of the restrictions that we have on our dashboard designer and in our dashboards, and you want to kind of build your own version of dashboards. And so a very common use case is for a client to build a web page that that uses Visualize to embed Jaspersoft in it, and you can build your own dashboard. You can actually create a page that has multiple div tags, which you can think of as sort of equivalent to our dashlets, and then you can fill those divs with individual calls to reports or ad hoc views or whatever you want. This gives you that complete control, almost complete control over the look and feel. Of course, the report development, you still got to make the look and feel look similar to what you want when you're building the reports, but the layout or filters in to Jaspersoft, you have a lot more control over that look and feel when you implement it with visualize.js. There's no overhead of your dashboard framework. And what I mean by that is, you know, inherently our dashboard is a framework to run a bunch of reports at the same time, and putting together the dashboard, there's a little bit of overhead there. It's not a lot, but there is a little bit of overhead to do that, which can affect performance. When you do visualize, it's still going to have some overhead, but probably a lot less if you've built your JavaScript, you know, with performance in mind. So you will save a little bit potentially on the overhead for our dashboard designer. And then the best part, what I really like, is the ability, you now have the ability to sort of personalize this page or dashboard, whatever you want to call it, with a little additional coding. A lot of examples I give are you have a visualize page that maybe shows a list on the left of all available reports to the logged in user. They show that list, and then maybe there's a checkbox or a star to favorite things or whatever you want. And the user says, yeah, I see reports A, B, C, D, and E, and I want to actually look at these 4 div tags I have on my page. I want report A to be in the top left. I want report E to be in the top right, and so on and so forth. And if you store that information, that sort of metadata about your dashboard in your database, then when the user logs in and comes to that page in the future, you can preload whatever they chose previously and automatically show them sort of a custom dashboard, if you will. I I would love to talk a little bit more about that now, but we're not going to have time, of course. So there will be a future session that we're going to have that will cover this sort of concept in much more detail. But in the meantime, what I will show you is one of the demos that we do have available publicly. It's not it's been around for a long time. Some of you may be familiar with our Urban Roast demo, but this is sort of the same kind of concept, right? This is what I would consider a dashboard of performance of these coffee shops throughout the world. So if I scroll here, this has been written to actually update. Oh, well, there you go. I have another session issue there. Hang on. So if I scroll to update, it will update, you know, and I can do this slider bar and choose different date ranges, and it will update the table down below, the crosstab down below, with total information based on the dates that I've chosen. In my map, which I don't have the mapping component properly installed on our demo yet, but anymore. But if I click on it, it will update both dashlets with that location specific information. So based on the map, I can see this information. And this is some of the cool stuff you can do, with Visualize and our dashboards, or creating your own dashboards, excuse me. We still have the capability of displaying the whole dashboard if you created it in Jaspersoft, just like we mentioned before with that embed code feature. But if your programmers want full control, this is the method that they probably will look for.
Yeah. So here you have again full flexibility and control over every component, as you can see here. All of those components are coming from Jasper Server. So those are resources that you have created. Maybe you're using them for something else as well. But thanks to VisualizeJS with JavaScript, you were able now to combine them in one page and use the interaction provided by the dashboard via VisualizeJS methods and functions. Yes, it will require some more work because it's not like the dashboard that we have in Jasper Server where you can just drag and drop. This will require some efforts in creating the code and the JavaScript code and such, but it will give you full flexibility. I mean, the developer here is free to do whatever he can imagine and leverage Jaspersoft resources in a way that fits his needs.
Thanks, Batter. Can you still hear me okay?
You're fine. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit from time to time, but just like a few seconds.
Well, good, because now I'm done. So now it's question time. I tried to turn my camera back on, but it caused my internet to go.
I wouldn't advise for that.
I apologize, everyone. I'm actually on site with a client this month. This was not properly thought out on my part, but so I'm actually relying on my phone for the internet. So I really apologize for the connection issues, but we give full service here, so I'm double dutying it this week and working with a client. So are there questions? I think I saw a few pop up, right, Batter?
So let's start with one from Kaja. So, hi, is it possible to create a chart or report using SQL queries directly instead of a flat file? And is it possible to create multiple visualization using the SQL queries?
Yeah, so I mean, I could take that. Most of our reports are using SQL queries under the covers. How those SQL queries are developed depends on the style of report. Ad-hoc relies on a concept called a domain, which builds the SQL query dynamically based on you choosing some information about your data and setting up a sort of a semantic layer. Studio-based reports are almost always done in SQL exclusively. I will show in my ad hoc designer, this is not mine, so it's not enabled right now, but we do have the ability to even see the SQL that's generated right here. If we enable that feature, then you can see the generated SQL from an ad hoc view or report. But generally, we actually work mostly with SQL when we build our reports. Flat files are an option as well, but generally we work off of databases.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
So the second question, it's from Anonymous. Can you easily use a Studio report to drill into another dashlet easily in a dashboard? I know it was not easily possible before. Is there any plans if it's still not available? So I think you already talked about that. If you can talk again to
yeah, I mean, the answer is easily is a relative term. It depends on who you are. It's not as easy as I think you're asking. It's not like you saw here with the drill downs that we have. When you're building a Studio report, you do have to build the hyperlinks. You have to create the hyperlinks, and your hyperlink can go into a dashboard. It cannot go into a dashlet. But you could always reload a dashboard with certain filters added that updates said dashlet if you wanted. So it's not quite as smooth as what I think the user is asking for there.
I think the question is more how to report drill into another dashlet easily, which is the new feature that we've added in version 9. So yes, you can if you have so before you had multiple dashlets. If you want to interact between them and use a drill down from dashlet A to dashlet B, they had to be ad hoc dashlets. So now it's not the case. So now, yes, you can have a studio report and you can impact another dashlet by emulating a drill down. When you click on one parameter from your studio report, that will drill down on a second dashlet, whether it's a studio or an ad hoc one. So if that was your question, which I think it is, so now, yes, it's possible in version 9. Starting version 9, you can do it as you used to do it with ad hocs. But the enabled drill down that is shown here with Tacoma and Q1, that's enabled drill down, which is out of the box drill down that doesn't require any parameter mapping. Yes, that's only for ad hoc for now.
Great. All right, what's next?
All right, so
Repo.
yeah. So another one for anonymous, is the repo for that example publicly available?
I think they're talking about
Urban
the
Roast, I
Urban
believe.
Roast.
Yeah. I'm not sure of that, but we will. We can just. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Batter. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, just if you can shoot us, if you can put a question in our community page or shoot us an email, Dr. Jaspersoft at connect@jaspersoft. We can get back to you on that one. I'm not sure if it's publicly available or not.
Okay. Next one.
Oh, there is questions. I didn't see
Yes,
them.
more have popped up.
I'm not sure why. Another one from private. Is it possible to display any of the default exporters on dashboard or dashlet?
Oh, I forgot to show the exporters, didn't I? So all of the default exporters are available on your dashboard if you choose to display that. Sorry, let me get the question box out of the way. Yeah, so you see here we've got the show export button. So that gives us the ability to export the entire dashboard. And then within each individual dashlet, you'll notice on this one, I enabled the export
Okay,
button.
I think we lost Mike. My connection
Oh,
also was unstable, so I'm not sure what's happening with connection.
sorry.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think it
Okay.
might be you, Batter, this time.
Oh, okay.
So can you see my screen okay?
We can, yes.
Okay. So the dashboard export capability is right here. So because I have it on the whole dashboard, I have the ability to show the screenshot, and there's various formats for screenshot, and then I have the ability to show the detailed, and there's various formats for the detailed as well. So when I export these, it will actually create files. Here's an earlier screenshot I was playing with. So this is a PNG that's a screenshot of my dashboard, but because this report has more data, it's not very useful because I don't see all of the data here. So I did a detailed export as well, which actually shows all of that data in addition to all of the dashlets. So that capability is built in as long as you enable it for a given dashlet.
All right, thank you, Mike. So next question from Diane. I am new to Jaspersoft. It's embedded in our software. Is there a tutorial for creating reports, ad hoc queries, and dashboards?
You want to take that better? Or do you want me to take it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I mean, so you have tutorials in our community. If you go to the community and go on the Kickstart guide, so there's some documents there and articles on how to create your first reports, ad hocs, and dashboards. You also have the YouTube channel, Jaspersoft Embedded BI. If you can show it, please, Mike. So we have a bunch of content there. You can just search. You will see how to create reports, ad hoc, and queries, and things like that. And what I also would advise is just do a search in Google, because our content is spread across many places. You can find a lot of articles everywhere about Jaspersoft. So you have the community, you have the Jaspersoft Embedded BI, and you can do Google search. I'm sure you're gonna find a lot of documentation on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and if your company, Diane, happens to have a customer success package with us, you can have them reach out to your customer success manager, and we can always set up trainings and do that sort of stuff as well. That's something that our team
Yes.
actually provides as well.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that as well. Custom train is also available per request. So we have another, okay, so still coming up with the questions. So another one from Kaja. IReport 5.6.0 supported here, or we can only use Jaspersoft Studio for complex report creation. Thanks. Not sure I get that.
I mean, IReport. I don't know about supported. We've moved on from IReport to the next version of that's called Jaspersoft Studio, of course. And as far as supported, you can build reports still in IReport. The format of reports that are generated is still the same. The underlying format is still the same. You will not have as many features available to you when you build a report in IReport, but the underlying report is still a JRXML file. And those, once you publish those reports to the server, we don't care who generated them or how they were generated. You can always suck those into a dashboard and display those the same as anything else.
All right, thank you, Mike. Next question, do you have any plans to add a feature to schedule ad hoc view?
Well, that's not related to dashboards, is it?
Yes.
But that's okay. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if it's in the roadmap or not. Batter, do you know for sure? I don't think it is.
I'm not sure about that. But any question about the roadmap, I will highly ask you to post a question again in the community. You can tag Dr. Jaspersoft, or you can send us an email, Dr. Jaspersoft, and I will certainly get back to you on those requests, that if what are our plans on the roadmaps and things like that. And also, as you showed before, there is a Jaspersoft idea, Mike. There's a website when you can, if something is not in our backlog and you're not thinking about it, you can always go to Jaspersoft Ideas website, add it there. We're reviewing it, Jaspersoft Ideas, it should show up.
There it is.
We're reviewing it, and based on the votes, as if we have more votes on particular idea here, that certainly will have more eyes and might actually be considered in the next backlog.
Yeah, our engineering team reviews.
Yeah, we had many features actually brought up from
we
added to our release straight from this Jaspersoft ideas.
Yes.
So that will go also to the next question from Anonymous about AI. So we're talking about if there is any EA assistance to automatically create dashboards and things like that, just by getting the data, by connecting your BI to the data source.
And I can confidently say we are working on that as we speak. Our engineering team is working on some stuff with AI. So stay tuned. I can't say much more than that, though.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So the other one from Maria, how can we join the community forum? We work with the district and unable to create accounts.
Anyone should be able to join the community forum. It's just any user information. You don't have to even be a customer of Jaspersoft to join our community page here. So anyone can navigate. This is open and available. All of this is open to anyone to just navigate, but you should be able to create your own user regardless of if you have Jaspersoft or not, if you need to post anything or ask questions.
Yes, and if Maria, if you have any issues creating your accounts in this website, please shoot us an email, and we'll certainly take a look at it and loop you in with the right contacts to fix your issue. Okay, Diane, another question. Okay, so that's a comment from her question. So told you, thank you, Mike. Great information. I will follow up on the customer success package. Another one from Mashindra. Can we add multiple databases to showing data on dashboards? If yes, how it is possible?
Yeah, so you can. Now keep in mind that each dashlet is actually its own separate report. So those reports will have their own data sources attached to them. So but inherently you can have multiple data sources within each dashlet because you have different dashlets on there. One step further, we have a concept of a virtual data source that if you're creating ad hoc views, you can actually combine multiple data sources, even in one ad hoc view, when you're creating the domain, which provides the data to the ad hoc view. That's an advanced topic, but if you just search our docs for the virtual data source, you'll see how to do that. We have direct instructions in one of our guides on how to do that. But like I said, inherently, because of the way our dashboards work, you really can have multiple data sources as long as you build those reports pointing to the different data sources.
Thank you, Mike. So the another question, we have two questions left. So another question is before last one, exporting dashboards with graphs. Is it possible
Yeah,
for the data behind the graphs to be exported along with the visual graph? Export appears to only pull down a
right.
snapshot of the visual.
Yeah, I think I get what you're going after, Michael, but unfortunately, it's not there by default. There's no way to really show that full data there. If you wanted to do that, you would simply you'd have to basically build another view or report that shows that underlying data within the report that you then show in your dashboard, and then you could export it. We don't have a mechanism to say, oh, here's my pie chart, show me a table of the data in that pie chart. I'd have to actually build that when I'm building the report via an ad hoc view or via, well, in an ad hoc view, you can only show one chart, one table, one crosstab, but in a studio report, you could have multiple components if you wanted to. Otherwise, you could have two ad hoc views, one that shows the pie chart and one that maybe shows a table of the corresponding data, similar to what I showed with the vacation accrual thing, because then I clicked on the pie and it updated the table. So you still kind of build that manually. There's nothing automated to do what you're looking for at this point.
All right, thank you, Mike. That sounds to me, Michael, that can be a Jaspersoft idea as
Yeah,
well.
I agree.
Definitely. And which one is, and the other one as well from Srikant, which is, can we open drill down report from dashboard as a pop-up?
You can open it as a new page.
Yeah,
Not
but not
not
as
the
a
auto
pop-up.
drill down that we just showed, but you can have a hyperlink that opens as a new page. So it's essentially like a pop-up. So if you wanted to, you could do that for sure.
Yeah,
But it
but
would,
for a pop-up, and I see where you're coming from, and sometimes it might be good to have it as a pop-up, like a real JavaScript HTML pop-up. So that is not one of our actions here, as you can see, but that can really be good Jaspersoft idea as well
yep,
for next releases. Thank you,
I
Shrikant.
agree. I agree.
So yeah, so just one last thing about, so Maria just told us that she gets a message, you're not permitted to register a user account with this site. So that's certainly an issue there. It's an odd behavior. If you could share with us, Maria, your account that you're trying, your email that you're trying to register with, shoot us an email to Dr. Jaspersoft Connect that uh, Jaspersoft at connect@jaspersoft.com. Mike, if you can share that, please, and just let me know, and I will take it from there, and I will see why you can't register to our community page.
Yeah, and yeah, real quick, want to go back just to show everyone in this deck, which will be posted as Batter said, to our community site, the Dr. Jaspersoft area of the community site. We do have resources in here, a couple of links, including to that Urban Roast demo. So that is available for you to look at. It's a little bit aged at this point, but hopefully more like a fine wine. So it's not too bad. And then also we gave a link to the visualize.js sort of API guide, which has tons of demos and not demos, links to examples and samples and that sort of stuff. So those links are all here.
Yeah.
This has links to our community forum, so you can always post stuff there if you can get in. So hopefully we'll get Maria in there and you can start getting around and posting stuff there. If you post a question and tag Dr. Jasper, then that will be alerted and we can actually respond to you directly there as well. So that's another way to reach us. And then, of course, this will be recorded and posted to YouTube. And we have a playlist of all of our Dr. Jaspersoft series, which we do every month. So there's a lot of good info out there. So please don't hesitate to reach out or find all of our old resources available to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike, for this rich presentation. But I just have like one quick question that I promised the one who asked it to ask to you at the end of the session. So this one was from Jonathan Cano, and he said, "Why does Mike hair have no white still?"
uh, I think the camera is really good because there's plenty of white hair, and the more John asks me about it, the more hairs I'll get. And John, if you're still listening, I'm at one of your favorite clients' site, and they tell me they miss you. They might be within earshot right now, so we'll catch up later. But yeah, thanks, Batter. I appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session again. And stay tuned for our next one of AWS versus Azure on May 9th. And thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day or great night.
Bye-bye, everyone.